As you begin to notice the subtle shifts within you, those quiet moments when something becomes clearer, something more powerful, something more expansive, you might find yourself wondering how beliefs, those old beliefs that you used to hold on to so tightly, they're nothing more than well-practiced patterns. Patterns which can be changed, just like that. You may even begin to feel the way your mind starts to reorganize itself, almost automatically, as if it's naturally choosing a new direction, one that leads to freedom, to clarity, to ease. It's as though you've just stepped into a new space, a space where every choice you make begins to move you towards something more expansive, something more exciting. And the further you go, the more open everything feels, as if you're stepping into a world of limitless possibilities. Because it's interesting, isn't it? Think about how something as simple as a belief, just a thought, just an idea, can have such a profound effect on the way we make choices, the way we act, the way we feel. As you notice this, you might wonder, just for a moment, how it would be to look at fear differently, to see it not as something that holds you back, but something that, when understood and embraced, opens the door to new levels of possibility. Because after all, fear itself is just a signal, a messenger, a moment of awareness, a pattern, a reminder to check in, to pay attention, to become aware of what's happening right now. And it's only when you start to believe that fear controls you, that fear has the power to dictate your decisions, that the pattern begins to grow. But what if you could recognize that fear is not a command, not a directive, but simply a momentary feeling, and in that moment there's a choice. And the moment you recognize that choice, that space between stimulus and response, you realize you've the power to choose something different, to choose to act in alignment with your desires, to choose to move towards what you want, rather than away from what you fear. Isn't it fascinating, the power that lies in that simple shift of perspective? Because you see, every choice made from a place of fear, when you begin to realize this, doesn't get you more fear. Not at all. In fact, each choice made in the presence of fear, when viewed with awareness, begins to dissolve the very foundation of fear itself. And it's as though the fear begins to shrink, to fade, as if it has no reason to stay, no reason to hold you back. And as that fear shrinks, as the space around it expands, and in that expansion you find more room for clarity, for courage, for calm. Every choice made in clarity, in calm, in trust, it amplifies that clarity. Every step you take towards what you want, not what you fear, creates momentum. And the more you realize this, the more you understand each decision made from this place of trust, from this place of your true desire, creates an environment where that desire becomes stronger and stronger. The energy shifts, the patterns shift, the behaviours shift. Now notice this, with each choice you create the possibility for something new, something more aligned with who you are and who you're becoming. A new belief is taking root, almost unnoticed, like the seed of a tree quietly growing beneath the surface. And just as a seed needs the right conditions to grow, light, water, care, so too does this new belief. The belief that every choice, even in the presence of fear, doesn't lead to more fear. No, it leads to more freedom, more trust, more courage, more opportunities to create. Isn't it fascinating to see how the very presence of fear becomes the catalyst for transformation? The very energy that once held you back becomes the fuel that propels you forward. It's almost as if the fear, once you recognize it for what it truly is, becomes an ally, not a force that controls you, but a teacher, showing you where you can grow, showing you where you can choose more consciously, more wisely, more powerfully. And with each new choice, you create a new pattern, a new way of being. A way of being that's no longer driven by fear, but by trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in your abilities. Trust in the knowing that every step you take towards what you desire, it expands the possibility of that very thing showing up in your life. You may begin to sense, almost without effort, how this process becomes easier, smoother, more natural. The more you choose, the more you trust. The more you trust, the more you choose. And each choice creates more clarity, more insight, more connection to the true essence of who you are. And from this place it becomes effortless to make choices to move you forward. Effortless to make choices to expand your world, rather than shrink it. You see, it's no longer about fighting fear, no longer about resisting it, or running from it. It's about understanding that fear is just one part of the experience. And every time you choose in the face of fear, you make that fear smaller, less powerful, less significant. And with each new decision, you reinforce the belief that you can move through fear, not around it. And as you move through it, you gain even more freedom, more power, more control. And now it's as if the idea of fear, any fear, simply doesn't have the same meaning anymore. Because each time you move towards your desire, you reinforce the belief. It's not the fear that leads you. No. It's your trust. Your ability to choose freely. Your ability to act from a place of alignment with your highest self. And as you choose this process, you begin to realize that fear, once it's been recognized, once it's been understood, it's not something that stands in your way. It's simply another part of your experience, another resource to use, another pattern to transform. And as you continue to make choices from a place of trust, from a place of clarity, you begin to see the more choices you make in this way, the more fear fades into the background, the more your life is filled with the joy of creation, satisfaction of knowing that you're moving towards what you want. And as you stand here right now, you might begin to feel how easy it is, how natural it is, to make those choices that lead you towards more confidence, more trust, more freedom. And in this space you realize you're always in control, always creating, always moving towards what you truly desire. And isn't it just incredible to realize that in the end, it was never fear that shaped your life. No. It was the choices that you made, with trust, with courage, with clarity, that always shaped your reality. And now you're ready to make those choices effortlessly, naturally, knowing each one will take you further, closer, deeper into the life that you truly desire.